Does cardio impact muscle building? Let's find out. When I first started training seriously, I had one uncompromising rule: avoid cardio at all costs. I was convinced that every minute on the treadmill or bike would melt away my hard-earned muscle. I watched some guys in the gym who focused exclusively on lifting and admired how big they looked, while I worried that adding any endurance exercises would leave me lean but weak. For a long time, I skipped it entirely, believing that if I just lift heavy and ate enough, I'd build muscle without compromise. Looking back, I now realize my fear wasn't entirely irrational. It just came from a place of misunderstanding. I thought cardio was the enemy because I saw it as an extra calorie burner that would strip away the muscle I had worked so hard to build. But as I progressed in my training and started diving into scientific research, I discovered that this black and white thinking was far too simplistic. The truth is that it doesn't have to be the enemy of muscle growth. In fact, when programmed correctly, it can support muscle building by enhancing recovery, increasing work capacity, and even improving overall performance. However, you definitely need to know how and when to implement it. Today, I'm going to share what I've learned, backed by research and personal experience, about how aerobic exercises really impact muscle building. For many years, the idea that cardio hinders muscle growth was rooted in the concept of the interference effect. Early research from the 1980s suggested that combining endurance and resistance training led to lower gains in muscle size and strength compared to lifting alone. I remember reading studies that claimed high volumes of cardio would drain your energy, deplete glycogen stores, and ultimately inhibit the muscle building process. That convinced me, for a while, that I needed to avoid cardio if I wanted to maximize hypertrophy. However, those early studies often involved high-intensity, high-volume endurance protocols. Think long-distance running or repeated high-intensity intervals, performed alongside heavy weightlifting without sufficient recovery. This approach created an environment where the body was in a constant state of fatigue and muscle damage, which made it hard to recover and grow. Recent research, however, paints a more nuanced picture. It turns out that the negative effects on muscle growth are highly dependent on the type, intensity, volume, and timing. A 2012 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research compared the effects of different types of cardio on muscle hypertrophy. The study revealed that running, due to its high-impact eccentric contractions, can lead to greater muscle damage and longer recovery times compared to cycling, which is lower impact and places less strain on the muscles. This finding was eye-opening for me. It suggested that not all cardio is created equal when it comes to supporting or interfering with muscle growth. Another pivotal study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology in 2018 demonstrated that performing excessive conditioning sessions more than 5 times per week had a negative impact on muscle hypertrophy. In contrast, a moderate volume of cardio, such as 2 to 3 sessions per week lasting 20 to 30 minutes each, did not interfere with muscle growth. These studies reinforce the idea that moderation is key. Timing also plays a crucial role. A study from 2021 in Sports Medicine showed that doing HIIT-style exercise immediately before a weightlifting workout can significantly reduce strength output. This is because the muscles are already fatigued from the cardio session, which limits their performance during resistance training. On the other hand, doing it after lifting or on separate days allows you to maintain high intensity during your weightlifting workout while still reaping the cardiovascular benefits. In essence, the research indicates that when you choose the right type of cardio, keep the volume moderate, and schedule it appropriately, it can coexist with and even support muscle building. I've experimented with various approaches over the years, and my journey has been one of learning through trial and error. In the beginning, I completely eliminated it from my routine, believing that if I focused solely on heavy lifting, I'd maximize my gains. While I did build muscle during that period, I also noticed that I became winded very quickly during everyday activities. My recovery was suboptimal, and I simply lacked overall endurance. A few months later, I decided to incorporate high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, into my routine. I was excited to add a new challenge and believed that HIIT, with its promise of burning fat quickly, would be the perfect complement to my lifting sessions. Unfortunately, I soon realized that doing HIIT sessions 5 times a week, in addition to heavy lifting, left me perpetually exhausted. My strength began to plateau, and I started feeling like I was constantly on the edge of overtraining. That period taught me a critical lesson: more cardio isn't always better. Eventually, I transitioned to a more balanced approach. I began incorporating low-intensity, steady-state cardio, such as incline walking and easy cycling, for 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times per week. I scheduled these sessions after my weight training, or sometimes on days when I wasn't lifting at all. The results were remarkable. I noticed improved recovery between workouts and enhanced endurance. My body looked leaner, and I even felt a slight boost in my lifting performance. With this balanced approach, I was able to maintain a strong cardiovascular base while continuing to build muscle effectively. Now I will answer the most common questions I get: when to do cardio, before or after my workouts, or maybe on separate days. One of the most critical factors in balancing endurance training with muscle building is timing. Through my experience and research, I found that the timing of your aerobic exercise is just as important as the amount you do. How and when you structure your sessions can significantly impact your progress. Let's see what happens when you do cardio before your workout. In my early days, I experimented with doing cardio as a warm-up before lifting. I quickly discovered that this approach wasn't ideal. Doing it before weights left me with less energy, and I found that my strength and power was significantly reduced. A 2020 study in the Journal of Sports Sciences confirmed that doing endurance exercises immediately before lifting decreased subsequent performance. This is because the fatigue carries over into your weight training, limiting the number of sets and the quality of the lifts. Based on both my experience and the science, I now avoid doing high-intensity exercises before my weightlifting workout if my primary goal is to build muscle. I know that some of you might have a different opinion on this, and I will be happy to hear it in the comments. Now let's see what happens when you do cardio after your workout. I'll be talking about my personal fitness journey. When I lift first, I'm able to give my full effort to my resistance training, maximizing muscle activation and strength. Then, after I've completed my main workout, I can do a moderate cardio session without compromising the quality of my routine. Research supports this approach. A study in sports medicine found that when cardio is performed after lifting, it doesn't negatively affect hypertrophy as long as the duration remains moderate, which means about 20 to 30 minutes. This timing allows me to enjoy the benefits of both training modalities without sacrificing muscle gains. But what happens when you are doing it on separate days? The best option for those who want to maximize muscle growth while still enjoying the benefits of endurance training might be to schedule them on separate days. When I separate the two completely, I can devote my full energy to each type of training on its designated day. This method not only prevents any interference between cardio and weight training, but also provides ample recovery time for both systems. Studies have shown that separating these sessions can lead to better overall performance and improved recovery. Whenever possible, I schedule my conditioning work and resistance sessions on different days, or at least with a gap of 6 hours in between, to ensure that I'm not compromising the quality of my workouts. If you're wondering how I personally structure my cardio, it's in the following way. After each workout, I spend about 20 to 30 minutes walking on the treadmill at a moderate pace. However, 2 days a week, I switch things up with a dedicated endurance session where I really push my limits. On those days, I mix up biking, running, sprinting, or Stairmaster, and I basically pick one machine or exercise and go really hard with it. I also train my abs after the session. This is just the way I structure my routine. You don't have to copy it exactly. I know many of you are curious about how I keep my workouts balanced. You might also wonder why I choose 2 separate cardio days instead of 1 or 3. It's simple. This schedule aligns perfectly with my personal goals. Remember, every fitness program should be tailored specifically to you. We all have different levels, unique goals, and varying amounts of time to dedicate to our workouts. What works for one person might not work for another. So find the routine that fits your lifestyle and goals best. While many lifters worry that endurance exercises will steal muscle, I've come to appreciate several benefits that cardio can offer. Benefits that indirectly contribute to better muscle growth. One of the primary advantages of cardiovascular exercise is improved recovery. When your cardiovascular system is well conditioned, you can deliver oxygen and nutrients to your muscles more efficiently. A study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that lifters with higher aerobic capacity were able to recover faster between sets. Faster recovery means you can maintain higher training volumes and push harder during weight training sessions. Cardio also enhances nutrient delivery. By increasing blood flow, it helps transport essential nutrients such as amino acids, glucose, and oxygen to your muscles. This process is vital for muscle repair and growth. especially after intense resistance training. Better circulation not only aids recovery, but also helps flush out metabolic waste products that can contribute to muscle soreness. Another benefit is improved body composition. I've noticed that incorporating moderate endurance moves helps me maintain a lower body fat percentage while building muscle. This is especially important during the cutting phases, where the goal is to reveal muscle definition without sacrificing muscle mass. It can also help create a calorie deficit and improve metabolic health, making it easier to stay lean while continuing to build strength. Moreover, it supports overall health and longevity. While lifting weights is essential for muscle growth, cardiovascular health is equally important for long-term well-being. A healthy heart and efficient metabolism enable me to train harder, recover better, and sustain my performance over many years. I found that a balanced approach that includes endurance exercise has not only improved my athletic performance, but also my energy levels and daily life. It's crucial to understand that your cardio program should be tailored to your specific goals. If muscle hypertrophy is your primary focus, then the type, volume, and timing of cardio must be carefully balanced with your weight training. On the other hand, if your goals include strength, endurance, or overall conditioning, your approach might differ. For muscle growth, I stick to 2 to 3 sessions of LISS per week, ensuring each session is about 20 to 30 minutes long and scheduled after lifting or on separate days. This approach allows me to maintain cardiovascular fitness without compromising my recovery or strength. If my primary goal shifts to strength, I might reduce the number of cardio sessions and opt for low-volume, moderate-intensity activities that don't tax the central nervous system. For strength training, it's essential that every set is performed with maximal effort, so I limit cardio to avoid interfering with that stimulus. For those focusing on endurance, a higher volume of cardio is necessary, even if it means doing more sessions per week. However, endurance training often involves lower intensities and different rep schemes, so the muscle building interference is less pronounced if the training is programmed appropriately. The key, in my experience, is to start with the general guideline and then adjust based on how your body responds. Drastic changes in volume or intensity can lead to burnout or hinder progress, so I always advocate for gradual adjustments, tweaking one variable at a time while carefully tracking performance, recovery, and muscle growth. Experimentation is essential, but it should be structured rather than random. Through my years of training, I've seen many lifters and made mistakes myself by jumping to extremes. One of the most common mistakes I made was doing too much cardio on days I was already lifting heavily. I'd try to cram in long runs or intense HIIT sessions, thinking that more cardio would automatically lead to better conditioning. Instead, I ended up in a state of chronic fatigue, which not only impaired my weightlifting performance, but also led to prolonged muscle soreness and a plateau in gains. Another mistake is neglecting the quality. It's not enough to simply log minutes on a machine. The intensity, form, and consistency matter a great deal. For example, if I'm running with poor form or at an intensity that pushes me into a catabolic state, I might inadvertently trigger muscle breakdown instead of recovery. I've learned that a moderate pace with proper technique is far more beneficial than an all-out sprint that leaves me completely drained. I've also seen lifters use cardio as a substitute for proper recovery. Some people think that if they're doing it, they don't need to focus on sleep, nutrition, or rest. In my experience, even the best routine can't compensate for poor recovery habits. My progress has taught me that recovery is just as important as the workout itself, if not more so. Ensuring I get adequate sleep, eat a balanced diet rich in protein and essential nutrients, and manage stress effectively has always been a non-negotiable part of my training plan. After years of experimentation and countless hours studying the research, I've come to a balanced conclusion. Cardio, when programmed intelligently, does not kill muscle gains. Instead, it can be a powerful tool that enhances overall performance and recovery. The key is to use it strategically. Choose the right type, keep the volume moderate, and schedule it at a time that doesn't interfere with your lifting sessions. If you want to achieve a Greek god physique naturally, make sure you watch my full video series where I rank the best and worst exercises for muscle building.